John, this will never work. John, this will never work.
It's a sweet little tin can.
This will never work.
It's a sweet little tin can.
This will never work. Never work.
Tin can.
This will never work. Never work.
Tin can.
Never work. No way. Never work.
Big dreams with small chances.
No way.
Big dreams with small chances. Big dreams with small chances. Small chances. And many have no chance to win. No chance to win.
Surely we'll be defeated.
No chance to win.
We'll be defeated.
But these six of the Lions are here. Small chances.
Tin can.
Small chances. Big dreams with small chances.
This will never work. This will never work. It will never work. This will never work.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. As we all know, in 1964, a red Mini, in 1964, with 33 EJB, achieved what few believed were possible. Against larger, more powerful cars, it won the Monte Carlo rally. And at the wheel was our friend Paddy Hopkirk, a man whose determination, humility, and joy captured the imagination of the world. That victory proved something very powerful, that small can win. It ignited a global love for the Mini and inspired drivers, engineers, and enthusiasts who saw themselves in that triumph. Today, we are working to ensure that when visitors arrive at the British Motor Museum in Gaydon, England, they are welcomed by the same spirit that Paddy and 33 EJB had, but cast in bronze at the entrance. Today, we are hoping that all of you get an opportunity to learn more about our sculptor. This monument will represent courage, innovation, and the underdog spirit that changed everything. But before bronze is poured into this full-scale replica, there's a crucial first step, and it's the maquette. A maquette is a detailed scale model that will capture the exact likeness, posture, and character for this final piece. And it is where this vision becomes viable. But how to bring this maquette to life, we need funds. We need donators, people to donate their funds. We need $27,000 for this first step. Today, we are calling for 27 individuals willing to step forward with $1,000 each to fund this essential stage. And every Mini owner out there, please look into yourselves, because if every Mini owner worldwide gave just $10, the monument would have already came to be complete. The community is that strong. The legacy is that loved. But progress begins with leadership, and that leadership lies in you. And that's, again, why we're honored to introduce the artist today that's going to be entrusted with shaping this tribute. Today we have J. Paul Nesse. He's internationally respected for his ability to capture not just likeness, but humility. He has sculpted motorsport legends including Carroll Shelby, Mario Andretti, Sterling Moss, Phil Hill, Donald Healy, and many more. His work is displayed in prestigious institutions such as the Black Hawk Museum and the Peterson Automotive Museum, among significant collections in Europe and the United States. When honoring a figure like Paddy, precision matters, and character matters. Legacy matters. This is not just building a statue. It's about ensuring that decades from now, a young visitor who walks into Gaydon looks up and asks, "Who is this? Who is he?" And someone answers, "He was proof that small cars can win." As you listen today, please consider one simple question. Can you be one of the 27? All right, so I want to bring in Paul here. Thank you very much for your time today, and we appreciate everything that you've been working with the Paddy Hopkirk Memorial Foundation. We also have Norm Nelson here as well, president of the Paddy Hopkirk Memorial Foundation, and we want to learn more about the story that drew you to Paddy Hopkirk. Our goal again is to give a better idea to all of our friends out there, the work that you do and how you've come to be. But first, what first drew you to the story of Paddy Hopkirk and the 1964 story?
Well, in '64, I would have been 13, and I had been into cars, European cars, for a number of years at that point. I was obsessed with cars as a kid, and then gained relationships with older kids, and that's where I picked up the beginnings of the history, and at that time it was current, of what was going on in Europe, how it was affecting the way cars were being built in the U.S., and there were a number of things that were extremely exciting. The whole Carroll Shelby story and Phil Hill's championship took place prior to '64, and Sterling Moss, who has been a hero of mine, he was already finished with his career because of that rough accident that he'd had that ended his career. The Mini was a curiosity. I grew up in Montana, and I lived near Glacier Park. I wasn't in the mountains, they were in the distance, but a lot of cars that I didn't have an opportunity to see normally would come through town on the highway to Glacier Park. And so that really is where I saw European cars, and the Mini was such an oddity because of how small it was. The only experience that I had with a car in that scale was a cousin of my father's drove out from Seattle to Montana to visit, and he was in a Fiat. I think it was a 500, but I was just taken by it because at that age, and I don't think I was more than maybe 8 or 9 years old. I was tall, but nonetheless, I still fit in the car. I could see myself being able to drive something this size. And that was such a peculiarity with American cars being so large. The Mini story was one that took place in Road and Track magazine, which I was very much aware of. And the formation of BMC pulled the cars that I hoped to own at one point together. And that family of automobiles drove an interest. I was very much interested in British cars, and the Mini was obscure, but became famous by that Monte Carlo win. And the Ford Falcon was in that race, and they would have won, but for perfectly logical handicapping. And that was impressive. I quickly understood that size was a factor, that power was a factor, but handling, which was something that Americans really didn't have a lot of appreciation for, especially where I was in the midst of endless long straight highways. We didn't have a speed limit in Montana while I grew up. And so that was a limitation for small bore European cars. There was a Renault Dauphine across the street from us. I thought the styling was odd but very attractive. But it didn't last long. I expect that driving on the high-speed straight-line roads didn't work out well. But the Mini, it was attractive, and it was something that could be improved upon with parts. There were race parts that were available, and it wasn't. Nowadays, it's hard to appreciate, what with the internet, how hard it was at the time to maintain a car from a foreign country. VW obviously did very well because they set up on British military planning. You couldn't sell the car without having everything necessary to run a dealership. And whereas if it were MG, Triumph, that sort of thing, it was iffier, and you might have to wait a couple of weeks to get parts. Anyway, for me, anything to do with cars was always about my interest, my future, what I would want. And I had this in the back of my mind as a car that I would like to own. I never did own a Mini, but I did. There were Minis in the Twin City area here that were exquisite. There was a fellow who collected a group of them. He had one of the Innocentes that were, I guess, built under license in Italy. And he had various, he had the little wagon, a Traveler, or whatever it was called. Yep. Sorry for not.
Traveler and Countryman.
Anyway.
Absolutely.
Very attractive to me.
Very fun.
So.
Yeah. How does it make you feel, when you're taking on a commission of such historical significance? It's such a great responsibility. I know, looking at other work you've done, some other works that have been placed in public areas, and truly significant people. What does it mean to you that you're able to sculpt these important people and of past his significance?
I consider myself to be one of the luckiest people in the world. I feel like I won the lottery. I had exactly the skills necessary to pursue this vein of interest, and I had a lot of interest in the history of automobiles. So there was a lot building sort of side by side. My fascination and love of automobiles was also ran alongside my interest in art. And so those two together, I never thought about putting the two together. I was very, very much aware of the art that would show up in magazines like Road and Track. And so until it was suggested that I do something automotive, I hadn't seen that. It started with a portrait of Donald Healy. I had done a restoration on a Healy 3000 Mark II, and I loved the car, did the restoration myself, and had the car for a number of years. And then I pursued I wanted a signature from Donald Healy. I named my daughter Gaydon Healy. That's it. And so I was enthused. And I had heard that Donald would write you back if you were to send him a personal note. He did, and I had included photographs of portrait sculpture that I had done and was involved in at the time. And he wrote back and asked what it would take to have something like that done. And that was the beginning of a crazy story, but at any rate, that was the first piece of sculpture. No, I'm wrong. The first automotive subject was Mario Andretti, and that's how I paid for the bodywork and paint on my Healy restoration. And as soon as I'd done the portrait of Mario, then my interest in pursuing Donald Healy came up, and I told the major clubs in the U.S., which I was aware of. I was a member of one of them, and I went looking for people who wanted to have a hand in backing the costs of my doing portrait of Donald Healy. That came together, and I did do that portrait. And once that was done, then I was approached to do a portrait of Zora Duntov, the chief engineer of the Corvette. And I went to Detroit, had sittings with Zora, and that developed into my doing my first automotive subject. I was asked to do the Grand Sport Corvette with a scale figure of Zora standing next to the car. And I did that, and it was unveiled at Bloomington Gold, which for that standard, the Bloomington Gold standard of judging automobiles, really had an effect all across the board. It was a good place to start because Corvettes aren't, there are rare models, but there are a lot of Corvettes. There's a large following for Corvettes, and Bloomington Gold set standards for how good, how much detail needed to be followed, et cetera, et cetera. And so I did that portrait. It was unveiled at the Bloomington Gold event. I can't remember what year that was. I think it was 1985. And Zora was on stage, posed with an actual Grand Sport. And then I had also done a life-size portrait of Zora. And that was unveiled. But then I had done this bronze of the Grand Sport Corvette with done while standing next to the car. And that was immediately successful. I sold enough to cover my expected expenses for another year. This was my first year going full-time in art on my own, and I had a young family at the time. It was quite a risk. But that worked out, and it just developed from there. The thing that was so amazing was to meet these people that I'd read about, that were so familiar to me, and just to be put in a position of where I was sculpting heroes. And so that's never gotten old. It's been just wonderful to meet the great heroes from automotive racing that survived, having grown up in a terrible time for losses for race drivers. Paddy Hopkirk, he was photogenic. That's an advantage. Anytime cameras are involved, it's an advantage to look the part. And he had a winning smile. So I can't remember not knowing what he looked like. And so I just on the edges of his notoriety, I was always aware of him. I was always aware of the details of the minis that raced for BMC. Actually had a film that I got one way or another. It was actual film that I had transferred VHS, and it had a section on the tape. It was about BMC racing, but it had footage of the Mini on a dyno, a rolling dyno in the race shop. And so I had that when I was in my 20s. So it was always in the background. I always knew who this Irishman was, and he was just part of that group. Being, Pat Moss was a big deal for any Healy enthusiast, and then being the sister of Sterling Moss, who was sort of my Babe Ruth. I just admired the fellow so much. So that group of the rally drivers, the race drivers, all that sort of thing, it was very tight knit. It was a gentlewoman organization. It was things like the advertising didn't clutter the cars. There was purity about it. There was still the sense that you could buy a car and show up at a racetrack and race it. That actually was doable as I grew up. So he represented that enthusiasm gone professional. And the manufacture of that car, the Mini, it was so obviously set up to succeed worldwide. That platform, front engine, transverse mounted engine, a three-door hatch. That's, I don't know what the numbers are, but that's the most successful car I can think of for the average person. They're still being built. So he represents a kind of a doorway for all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Voted #1 car of the world, just over the century there, and it's great seeing it continue on, even with the Pat Moss edition. Minnie, that was brought out by Minnie. It was great. But yeah, Pat Moss was very, very excellent to be taking that on in the early years. As we speak a little bit about capturing a face and likeness, that's one thing that really caught our attention, is that you really do you're known for capturing that facial detail. Can we talk a little bit about maybe the one that you did of the gentleman who invented or was the designer of the Bugatti, right? You've done a statue.
Sure.
Yeah.
I've worked from live subjects as much as possible, but inevitably, I've been asked to do a lot of people who I couldn't meet with personally. Ettore Bugatti, of course, was long gone before I came on the scene. But once I have a love for what makes an individual's face, how their persona is sort of shines through their features. And there's so much going on. We're so oriented to looking at each other and being affected by the way we look, positive and negative. It just we glean a lot of information that way, and it's when one is sculpting a portrait, you're creating that image of that particular person. If you're working life size, the head that you're sculpting takes up the same space in the environment that a living human being would. And it's magical for you. My hands do what is required to move clay around, or wax, whatever the material is. And it's a strange thing. There's a lot of frustration in any of the arts. Any writer looking at a blank sheet of paper understands that before the first stroke of a typewriter or the first stroke of a pen, there's the question, can I do this again? Because it's not entirely understood why one is able to capture things. I never got over that. I wasn't a large fear, but it was a concern, obviously. And as one is working, all of a sudden, I was instructed early on not to spend too much time in one area while you're doing any sculpture, any three-dimensional object. You need to be turning it, looking at it from a variety of angles, and capturing bits and pieces that you can pull, push, etc. And with a human being, there's all of a sudden I can tell when I'm on the right track. It's all of a sudden it's there. I can see, I recognize the person that I'm sculpting, whether I knew them, if I'm just working from photographs, even from a variety of ages. There's a sense that one has captured something. Now, that's the romantic aspect of the arts that has always been there up until recently. And now, it doesn't matter whether you're playing music or you're a writer or a painter, everything that a human can do there's experimentation with having machines do it, artificial intelligence. And the reality is that all of the skills that I've developed or that were given to me as just natural gifts, those things, almost all of them, are now, they can be overcome with a machine. Now, there's accuracy when you digitize someone's image three-dimensionally, two-dimensionally, you get exactly that angle. And though all these angles from various photographs, all that can be assembled. The part that at this point that remains elusive is to bring accuracy of shape to life. And if you go online and search through current things being sculpted, it's a huge world of things that are being created, and they're not necessarily using traditional materials. You can learn a program, and instead of taking a piece of clay and attaching it to a lump of clay and building out from there, the software allows you to go inside and push out. And it's an interesting thing. If I were a much younger person, I would have learned the utilization of digital sculpting. But what it's done is it's enabled accuracy, because a machine is so good at exact measurement, exact reproduction of whatever's there. But that doesn't necessarily give you a sense of the soul of the person. And I don't doubt that AI will continue to develop, because this is the same thing. It's hard to tell, but not impossible to tell, if AI writes, say, a short story. There are clues where certain aspects of it, they're not flowing through a human mind, through an artist's mind. Interpretation is what art has always been about. There's a if you hire an artist to do any subject, that you're hiring that person's intellect, their skills, and it's that anything they produce is affected by what they're bringing to the commission, whatever it is. Doesn't matter what kind of art it is. And the most it's been so traditionally critical that this personalization that is brought to writing or to painting or drawing, whatever it is, it makes it recognizable. It's something that if a person, it's like recognizing the style of a writer of music. There's it is something that has flowed through the mind and onto the page or into the clay, whatever it is, from that artist. That's not there currently. And so I'm sorry for this to go on and on.
Oh no. This is very good.
It's a lot to explain.
Yeah, no. What you're doing is, for someone like when you're studying expression, especially if someone is charismatic, and warm as Paddy. It's like, how do you go about doing that?
Yes.
It's quite a. I totally get where you're coming
Yes,
from on
and
that.
if you're just slightly wrong, if you don't accentuate certain that personality that you're trying to bring out, and accuracy of shape of the head, it's not the whole story. And I think that within all the arts, this is something that's there's going to be a cost to whether it be music, all of that. It's not going to have the richness that it's had until the artificial accuracy of the technology that's worshipped at this point. We're all just blinded by this, and it's so early in its development, and that's going to continue. But it will not replace this their music to whatever their media is.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Let's talk a little bit about the maquette and why it's so important, why it matters so much. Could you tell us a little bit more about this maquette stage?
Sure. The scale of the sculpture it's not important. I'm listening to myself. Delay it.
Sorry for the technical issues. But you're fine though. Go ahead. Keep on going. I know maybe a little noise. I'm sorry about that.
If I can, I can run and grab a maquette. I've got one that I did of Donald Keeley. Let me just run away for just a moment.
All right, excellent. And we're going to go ahead. We'll go ahead and go on over to showing some. We have this from the studio over that he has. Let's see here. In a moment. The maquette here. Here we go.
Got a couple of things here. I don't know. This is a portrait that I did. It's a maquette that I did of Donald Keeley. And like if I put this out here, there's a delay that's confusing. But like right now, his head is nearly the same scale as mine.
Yep. That's right.
But in reality, if I put that up here, it's
optical illusion.
Small.
Yeah.
Yes. And what I did is I sketched this out to capture what I thought was most important about Donald Keeley. He had a very winning smile. Again, he was photogenic and he had a very expressive face. Very helpful. I'm working quite realistically here. If you have this in front of you in your hand, you can see how that it is something that I've manipulated with my fingers and small tools and that sort of thing. But it's quite realistic, not quite so expressionistic as it could be. I'm going to show you another example. This is one that I did. This goes all the way back to when I was in graduate school. This is Wagner, the musical person. And this, at the time, I was working in this style where there was a looseness, almost a painterly quality to the way I laid the clay down. This is after the clay was done and the mold was made, and then this plaster copy was made. And so it's quite expressive. Looks kind of like a nasty man, but what I what, again, this is the of Richard Wagner. Adolf Hitler was a real fan, so they may have had some personality similarities. I don't know. Anyway, what I'm trying to get at is that this is something that you could probably do, certainly will be able to do with AI by dialing in expression. Something where, loose modeling or something that creates this, but it will be a loss when it's not appreciated. This just is something that flowed out of an artist's hand and mind. So,
Yeah, we're right now we're looking at on the screen some of the other images that you have done before, and they're just really amazing in the detail. And one thing I just wanted to mention here is that you're very much a master of realism. I have up here on the screen some images I found.
very good.
And that when you found an actual image of them and how they came across, I think that's one thing. When we were all getting together, Norm and Rachel, and trying to figure out who would be a good, who can really find Paddy's emotion, and you immediately came up. So, hey, Norm, did you have anything you wanted to add about
Absolutely.
that? Yeah.
If you can hear me, can you hear me now? I didn't know.
Yes,
Or am
yes.
Okay. From the first time I talked to J. Paul, I felt that he, just from the questions he asked us or me, I felt he had a grip on things, that he was wanting to delve in beyond just the physical part of it, but who Paddy was, what did he do, what made him happy, the storytelling, the story behind him, his passion. J. Paul just was amazing, and I knew from the first time I talked to him that he would be the right person to do this. And of course, he's absolutely looking at details and authenticity and all that, but he wanted to get the story, the feeling, the passion, the whole thing about the essence of Paddy, and it's transformed that way forward, and I'm so happy to have him as part of our team. So I don't want to talk too much,
Absolutely.
J. Paul, because you are the man of the hour, and I want you to tell your story. So, but I do thank you. I'm impressed. I'm in awe, and I just was thrilled when we first started having a few comments. So. Hang in there with us, and we'll get those 27 people get their line up with their cash, and we'll get going with this thing.
Oh, absolutely,
That's
absolutely. And one other thing I want to share here as well is up on the screen right now. This legacy worth preserving there at Gaydon. You're looking at the entrance there, and you notice there's no other sculptures. So this is going to be a first for that awesome museum to be able to showcase one of England's finest. Really helping the building cars and sending them throughout the world. But as you may know, all the winning championship cars, all the 3 minis from the Monte Carlo Rally are housed in there as well. So we couldn't find a more fitting location to do that. And Norm, did you want to speak to as well why the Gaydon and was such a easy choice for everyone to decide on?
It is the center of the British motor business and entity, and their reverence and their appreciation of Paddy is unparalleled. He is just revered there, and the people there are as excited anxious to do this. It's been great. And beyond that too is the family. Paddy's family as well, has been involved with this, and the thousands of photographs that we've been able to get from, and all the different memorabilia and all the stories and all the accountings of different things. The British Motor Museum has been awesome in that regard, and they've been very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's been very good. I know we get some great images from there. Again, great location going on over. But I have a question for J. Paul when it comes to the monument itself. How do you envision capturing Paddy's spirit, determined yet joyful in this maquette portion?
It was a natural part of his face. It's his facial, that beaming smile, that wasn't put on. It was just a very natural part of who he was. It's not hard to. I can't say that I've seen any video or film of him. It's really just still images, but it's not a hard thing for me to envision doing his portrait. The thing that will get worked out in the maquette is like right here now. There's a photograph of him and he's got 1 foot on the ground, one leg is bent, and he's sitting in the front fender. Now, that involves a lot of natural balance that any human being, any animal, that sort of thing, we're bound with his body that's affected by gravity. And all of that comes into play no matter what the pose is. And there are, his shoulders are squared off in one direction, and his head is tilted or turned in another direction. And you don't have to know, just in looking at this photograph, you get a sense that the attention that is pulled to a certain point out of the photograph. This all gives information about what his thought process was, what he was thinking at the time. And so it'll be a matter of fine-tuning. What I have envisioned is him standing next to the car with one arm up on the roof of the car as a means to rest himself, but almost to be embracing the car. It's a common, when I was growing up, cars were it was almost like a family member. They had personalities. People gave names to the automobile and the family. And it was that connection. It's not the same anymore. It's different. And that will become a valuable essence that can be expressed by the relationship of the figure to the car. And then the surface, which is what everybody will look at, that's what I will be involved in producing. The surface texture of the car and the figure, there will be a relationship, and that creates a sort of separate atmosphere. The car and Paddy will be in this atmosphere that's created, and the composition is something that small things, small details, making those decisions. That's all the sort of thing that I'll work out in the maquette. The maquette will still be sizable. I'm thinking, one 2.5, 3 feet long, 30 inches long, something like that. And if Paddy were 6 foot and he was not, you can work out all of these things by the relationship of the scale of the car to the human, and that has to just absolutely be unquestioned in the viewer's mind.
We really look forward to seeing what you come up with. And right now we're sharing some images on the screen of Paddy in front of cars, how he presents himself.
Yes.
There's so much photography of him, and he's always thank goodness for that, right? I mean, in front of the newer minis, he's such a jovial gentleman. I think it'll be very exciting for you to be able to do that. Is there a moment from Monte Carlo that you're thinking maybe using? How are you determine that? Yeah.
Basically, from an accuracy standpoint, I'd like to have him dressed in the clothes that he was wearing at the end of the rally. So the first photographs of him out of the car after he knows that he's won, those will be valuable. Like this photograph here where he's got looks like a winter coat of sorts on. That's not the way. He didn't wear a coat like that in the car, I would think. He would have been down to his shirt. And I've seen images of him where he has just won the race or the rally. And so that's the way he needs to be presented.
Yeah. And then here's one that we've found here. This is probably a little later on in his career, but he has definitely, looks like he just stepped out of his car and his wife is there with him, and that could be there. But at the award ceremony again, he's up in suit as well. So finding those original photos to really make it authentic. We really appreciate you looking in to do that.
I'm not sure that he wore a driving suit when he was rallying, at least in the 64 wheel. I don't know that I'm not sure. But those things, I'd like there to be accuracy there, and then the way his body fills those clothes, there's expression there. Years ago, I did a life-size figure for my alma mater, and this fellow was very tall, large person, but he was slender, and I wanted to give the sense of the sculpture being alive, and so at the time I was working in a more expressive, less absolute realistic way. I was wanting to express this sense of life. And so what I did is I chose a pinstripe suit. And the way I did all pinstripes was by sculpting, pulling a line through all of the clothes, somewhat monotonous. And then the clothes were wrinkled, as clothes always are, that enclose the body but allow the body to take the form necessary to hold a certain pose. And the suit almost had a sense of vibrating. And I thought it was quite successful. It's a on the campus. It's a it's sort of a mascot. People bring their kids there, sort of thing. But he literally comes alive in a photograph. That's what I'm looking for.
Very
In that
nice.
sense that this was a real person. It wasn't some skiff. Oftentimes, there's a desire to have the bush portraits that are done outside the bush.
Yeah, the presidential library. Yeah.
Yes, they're not very interesting. They're accurate, but they're dull.
Yeah, we should have
They
had
don't
you
show
do
much
it.
personality, and that's intentional. The artist, depending on his skill level, he either chose to do that or was told to do that,
Yes.
and that's. I don't want to wind up in that spot.
No worries. No. And what has the Paddy Hopkirk Memorial Foundation told you on this when it comes to Paddy?
I think in discussing they want Paddy's character to be somehow expressed. Anybody who's had something
absolutely.
to do with him, that's their biggest concern is that the sculpture exemplified the best of him.
Yeah.
And it'll
Absolutely.
be that will be in my mind. If he had a character that in the event that he people like if a person is given a commission to do a portrait of someone, and let's say that person has a questionable aspect to how they got to where they were, whether it be a large crime, whatever it is, there are things that are known about people, and I would, if I were to pursue any portrait, I would try and elicit those emotional responses in the viewer toward the sculpture.
Yeah.
And it sounds involved, but it happens all the time.
One.
You can't help but be affected that way.
Oh, thank you. We're just looking at this, a character here. It's on the screen.
Yes.
This is. Look at the expression here. Can you talk a little bit about the what you're seeing on the screen right now when you worked on that?
Yeah. I've got that sculpture right next to me here. Grab it.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Here's that.
Very good.
Figure.
Yeah, my goodness.
I don't know if the let's see if I bring it up in front of me. I don't know if that. Yeah, it's a little better.
Yep.
He had such a distinctive profile.
He does.
Almost. Well, you can't help but smile when you look at it.
Yeah.
There was. I don't want to be insulted. There's almost a there's a humorous side to the way Ettore Bugatti looked, and he would shut down whatever was going on in the factory. He would just have everybody pull off the automotive stuff, and they would concentrate on making tack for his horses. He designed a shoe where there was a special compartment for the big toe. And I got that information when I was having Zora Duntov sit for me, because that's what Ettore wanted to talk about, and Zora wanted to talk about his automobiles. there was a caricature that I found when I was doing this figure of Bugatti, and it captured some of the. It's almost like a poem. I don't know much about poetry other than there's a almost a musical way that a poem, the way it's spoken,
Yeah.
that it's almost musical, and a caricature emphasizes those things.
Sure does.
And so one thing has an effect on another thing. And what I wanted to do here was show him to be a proud man. I think he was he was sort of lord of the manor. It was almost everything. His whole world revolved around him. And
I can see that.
He was a big personality. And he wasn't a trained engineer. He was intuitive, which and that was the case with Enzo Ferrari as well. They were similar characters in some ways. Well, I wanted to capture this joyfulness that Bugatti was certainly careful. He was delighted with himself, and I think that's just a part of who he was, and it's the way he presented himself. He walked around the factory dressed like this. It was wonderful to be able to sculpt this, and it was received well. I did a number of copies of that.
You did an amazing job on that. I love the detail on that, and that's just awesome. Can we look at a couple other ones that we're going to look at here real quick? 911.
Yeah.
I mean, I love how you put the cars in place. I mean, that's another thing. Is this will be on a pedestal in front of the British Motor Heritage Museum in Gaydon. So we have some opportunities to have a really cool pedestal as well, right? You've been discussing pedestals with us.
Yes. The cars are either moving or they're not. It's one or the other. And it would have been it's always very interesting, for any car enthusiast with a knowledge of a variety of automobiles, how cars react to the forces of physics. And the Mini was so affected.
Yes.
An unusual standing. It was obviously front-wheel drive. It wanted to go up on. It wanted to subtract tire patches.
Yes.
It would leave the ground, so the car itself was very expressive of what it was. But that would be another thing. Paddy would be in the car. That creates limitations. So the car has to be at rest. But the way the car is depicted with all of the rally stuff, the lighting and whatever's on the car, and then the patina of the coloration, the sense of the car has just been turned off, and the living figure of Paddy next to it. That's where the two have to come together, and they will. The surface is it shares the involvement of the My
Yeah.
dog just walked
Oh,
in.
oh, no worries. No, you know.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. No, go ahead. Just mentioning, the image we're seeing right now is the Bentley Boys, the famous
Yes.
1923 race, and that one I love. Again, we talked about Paddy's car being still, after it completing a race, still warm.
Yes.
You get that effect, and I look forward to seeing how that is conveyed. But how you show this, I mean, this is the car that beat a train, right? So look at that. You can see it. You really did a great
Well,
job in
and
detail on that.
Here's an example. If it's a closed car, then anything that's glass or skin in one of my sculptures, it's a natural bronze peanut that shows that. So you can't see through the windows unless the windows are eliminated. And in the Bentley piece, I decided early on that I would have open windows and the interior, full interior, and the figure of Wolf Barnado behind the wheel. He's in there. It's a good likeness. And one of the benefits was this car had a Webasto sunroof in it. So that allowed light. So you can look at the sculpture and you can see inside and see the gauges and all of that sort of thing. And it was a trick to figure out how to so what I did was I sculpted the body of the car, the hood, the roof, all of that. And then I made a mold of the roof. Then I cut the roof off. Then I sculpted the interior of the car. And then everything was cast. And this was cast in a number of different castings. But the roof was cast separately from the main car. And the interior, all of the coloration, that was put on. And then the last thing was the roof was welded on the car. That's the way that worked.
That's amazing.
So it worked for that. It's a piece that I still have. One of the edition in my personal collection. I'll always have that.
Oh my goodness!
And I was satisfied. It was a favorite car.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, and there's some very other cool ones here as well. We have some better detail. Let me just go to this one real quick. We talked about this briefly. This is the Sterling Performance.
Yeah. It was such an important race for Sterling Moss. It was the last race for Mercedes because in '55 they had that horrible crash at Le Mans. And so the Mia Amelia took place, I think, I know it took place prior to Le Mans in the spring. And he did 1,000 miles in about 10 hours. And that's on small roads through cities, that sort of thing. Just a phenomenal drive. And it luckily happened when it did because Mercedes was not involved in racing from that point until about 1990. So the Moss piece, I met with Sterling at Elkhart Lake in Wisconsin. That's the sort of the home track for my area right here.
Yep.
We also have Brainerd International. Anyway, so he brought his original helmet. He posed for photographs, and so I had that information. And then the car, I had photographs only. I may have had a blueprint, but at that point, there was no internet. It was much harder to gather the information necessary. But the piece was unveiled at the Mia Amelia rerun in 1988. and Sterling was presented with his copy of this. But through my meetings with him, it became a friendship, and one of the biggest honors I've received is I got an invitation to attend his memorial at the big cathedral in London, where it took place last spring.
Yeah, no, I just love the detail that you have on this. We were looking at like you talked about the original helmets you found, and if you could call them helmets back then, right? it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Pretty wild. You did a great job. And then we have this other one here, Surprise at Monaco. Talk to us about that.
That was Rennie Dreyfuss. And what's interesting about it is he was a privateer at the time. He had a backer that bought the current race car, 35B, supercharged straight 8, single overhead cam. And he ran against the factory team, and he knew that they had advantages that they weren't going to share with privateer. But they came up with a plan to hide an extra fuel tank underneath the tonneau cover. And it's amazing that it wasn't discovered, but he was sitting right next to an extra fuel tank. He didn't have to make any stops, and he beat the factory team in the 1930.
Yeah, 1930. You're right. Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
So,
my goodness, that is and you can see the detail.
Yeah. I met him at Elkhart Lake, and I'd done a sculpture of an SSK Mercedes with Caracciolo and his win at the Mia Amelia. And being tall was an advantage. There was a crowd of people around him, but I put my hand in the air with a brochure that I had printed. And he spotted it and asked for it, which it was handed to him. He opened the brochure, he immediately figured out why I was sending it to him. And he said right then in front of this crowd, he'd be very interested in. A couple of weeks later, I was in his apartment in New York, having him sit for photographs for the sculpture that I did with him. And he became a surrogate grandfather.
Excellent.
Yeah. Really,
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we're looking now at the. This is the. If you can see, was it Miles Ahead?
Miles Ahead.
Yeah.
Play on that. Miles.
And
Ken Miles.
And here's an example of one's car sitting still compared to your other cars where they're moving. And the detail, again, I'm just always impressed with your ability to tell that story and the detail. It's quite astonishing to be able to get that. Just the sheen, even.
It was an early. I had done that figure of Duntov. That's the only really small scale figure I'd done, and I wasn't so sure that. When I was asked to do these things, I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to do it. It's no small thing to try and scale the human figure, because anyone looking, any viewer, very easily can tell when something doesn't feel right. They may not be able to explain it, but they can sense it. That had to be right, and this was the first real attempt, and it was very successful. It put me on the map internationally. It's just amazing how that went from started, posed for in Los Angeles, and then I finished it. It was unveiled at a Shelby convention, and it just took off.
Yeah. What do you think's being said in this statue? What is being said?
Shelby was a character. He was the king of hyperbole. And he and Ken had a very, very special relationship. And the two of them worked together, gesturing with the finger pointing. You can come up with all kinds of things.
Exactly.
That's
what's great.
Why is Ken at the side of the road? My thought was testing. But that's still what I have in mind. But someone else may have something else that's the story in this piece. But
He's pulled off the road for sure.
I wanted to show that interplay. I think that people were delighted that the 427 Cobra is one of the most popular cars ever made. So that was satisfying. But getting the figures to bring that car to life. That's where my success lay.
Absolutely. And then we have another one here as well. Daytona. Yep, Daytona Coupe. Same thing. We have, this is really good. Cars resting, side of the road. It's the color and details just really, really cool that you put through into this. You can get his hands on it, on his back. Just some coaching going on.
He was. I figure he must have been like a number of coaches. He had tremendous charisma. I think he was very good at hiring people, but that's one thing. Getting them to do what you want, to work towards the victory he had in mind. That's quite a thing. It's not a small thing to get people to work together to produce that kind of result. And Shelby had good reason to be proud of that, those wins, that portion of his career. Bob Bondurant had one of these, and I got to know Bob quite well. I did his 4-day course. My wife did as well. It was just a very pleasant thing. Also, a fellow across the river in Wisconsin owned Daytona Coupe. I also did the GT40 that was the Le Mans winner.
Oh, really? Oh, funny.
That guy owned that as well. So
I was finding just the amount of variety that you've done as well is really, really chopstick special. Look at that. There's a car at rest. I could see.
Yes.
Then we have, again, the ones we were looking at before, miles ahead.
Yeah.
Matter of record.
Yeah, there's the GT40.
Yep. That was such a very great, again, the detail. He's coming out, so maybe something like this with Paddy coming out of the...
That's it.
Right? So, gives you an idea of sneak peek, and then low boy. I love this one's at motion. I love when you put things that... Oh, this is the one I'm a little too familiar with these. I haven't, knock on wood, I haven't seen them roadside chat in a while, but that was such a great image right there as well. I also want to just show some slides here of, give me 1 second here. As I pull that up, Norm, did you have anything you wanted to add to?
Well,
as
I'm just watching the show and loving it, by the way. And but I do want to say that, Paul, I just thank you for sharing your works. It's amazing. Every time I talk to you, every time I see you and get involved with this, I just it's a pleasure. I just love to see what you've done, and I want to thank you for being a part of our team. It gives me confidence that we'll be able to really do a job. And most of all, I think I thank you for capturing and preserving Paddy's legacy for the millions of mini enthusiasts around the globe. So this will be it for eternity. That's our goal, and in the best place possible at the entrance of the museum in Gaydon, and I just, I'm thrilled to be a part of this, so thank you. It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And, go ahead.
I'm looking forward to getting started.
Yes, and we're looking at a little bit of some images right now that was found on your about your shop, your work studio, and
The guy who was pouring the fuel in the fuel tank here,
Yep.
that figure wasn't completed at that point.
oh wow, okay, very nice. No, this was a video that's on YouTube. I recommend people visiting it and getting a better idea.
Yeah.
You could definitely, Google J. Paul Nesse and be able to find this. It comes up really quick on YouTube. A gentleman came by and did a whole tour, and so for those who really want to see more about what you've done, I really highly recommend looking at this video. I know this was one of the ones when we were looking around that really popped up, and when we saw this video, it was like, oh my goodness, look at the detail, look at the right. It's really awesome. And also just wanted to go to one other video here. This is a one we'd like to share, and this will have a lot of different images of Paddy.
That's a great shot of him.
Yeah. So again, this is
And
kind
it
of
shows the amount of expression in his face.
yeah. My goodness. And we're going to be supplying you with lots of these images from the family that's involved, and just take a moment here and take a peek at some of this video that has been prepared of saluting Paddy. Isn't that great? Like,
Yeah, there's nothing like front-wheel drive and a handbrake.
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
I don't follow current motorsport. It's always been sort of a romantic thing with me. And when I watch current rally driving, it's superhuman to me. I don't understand how they can. This I can identify with because it's just such a much more innocent era. I can identify with throwing a car around like this. But current rally drivers, they're going so fast. It's just amazing how things develop. Look at that expression on his face.
Yeah, Norm, you want to speak to how he was personally as well? I mean, he was quite the character. He
was a character, all right. He could tell stories for hours and never say the same one twice.
Yeah.
Just amazing guy. And he also was such a giving guy. I mean, we'd have people lined up that he was given his time to introduce and do autographs and talk to people, and that line would go for miles, and we had to get a crew of people there just to try to keep things moving, because otherwise he would have been there for a month. So anyway, he was willing to give up that. He loved his fans, and he sure treated them like they were his best friends, and he's just amazing to everybody. He's an ambassador of the brand for sure. Just an amazing guy.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. The part of this is really important to be able to share with future generations. Paddy gave so much to everyone, and it's so important to give back to Paddy, and he brought a lot to the Mini community through, all the way through all those years that he was supportive of BMC, Leyland, and then when BMW came in to save the Mini brand from disappearing off the face of the earth, he stepped right up there and could tell you why it was so important that BMW stepped in, and why it's its own brand today, luxury brand for people to enjoy today and have so much fun in it. He appreciated that. I know I had an opportunity to drive him, and I was like, oh, how great would it be to put Paddy in this 60s Austin 7? He's going to love it. And he's like, well, are we going to have a more, where's the new Mini? I'm tired of those seats. He says, again, nothing wrong with the old Mini, but the new Mini is just so much more.
Yes. Almost every one of these, like Phil Hill, he sat for a portrait at his home. And he said that was pretty much the first question that everyone would ask him is, which Ferrari do you own? And he said, I never owned a Ferrari. And it was always temporary. I was always looking for the next car. The new Ferrari. And all of these guys were looking to win. And the best way to win was the next improved model.
Yeah.
So he would have a great appreciation for the current, the new iteration of the Mini.
Absolutely. No, thank you. And
they've gone on so long. It's not a new idea.
Yeah.
It's been out for a long time now. I don't know how many of the originals they sold, but it's very impressive how many BMW has sold.
Absolutely. You run into so many people that said Mini was their first car, and then now today with the Mini, the first reintroduction, at least to the States here, with the modern BMW style Mini powered by BMW. Now these kids who had those, that was their first car. So the legacy just continues going, and that is one reason why we're here today is that we do want to support the Paddy Hopkirk Memorial Foundation. We do need to find the first 27 with the $1,000 donation. It's tax deductible, and when honoring a figure like Paddy, precision matters, character matters, and legacy matters. And this is not just about building a statue. But again, as I mentioned at the very beginning of this conversation, it's about ensuring that decades from now, that young visitor walks into Gaydon, looks up and asks, who was he? And someone going to answer that he was proof that a small car can win. So, as those who are listening today, please consider, being one of the 27 who are going to be help getting this project across the finish line. So, we have a beautiful location working with the Heritage Motor Museum, being, there with the original Three Musketeers, the three Minis made it across the Monte Carlo Rally. We've looked around the world, and, working with Paul here is going to not only just capture the character, but you share a story. We really wanted to make someone who had facial realism as important, and you have proven monument experience worldwide. And, we understand you've taken down this maquette, sharing how that is going to be the final design, and we need to get there.
Yeah.
So again, it's at 27. So we have a bunch of circles here you see on the screen. You could please place your face in one of these, because we would really appreciate you being a part, getting involved in, global mini community. Please, if we understand if you're not able to be one of the $1,000 donators, that's fine. But man, if you could think about giving a cup of coffee instead of, donating it. Instead of giving it to the coffee shop, donate it to the, Paddy Hopkirk Memorial Foundation. No one's making money on this thing. This is all volunteer effort to get this across the finish line. Really do looking out for that. Now, Norm, you want to speak to a little bit about where people can be going? I had this slide up earlier. But this is the...
Oh, yeah.
Paddy Hopkirk Memorial Foundation.org. You can go there and hit the link, and this goes to the
Go to your GoFundMe page, and you can bypass that if you care to, but it's a very easy, and it goes through the PayPal process, so it's very quick and easy, and it's very orderly, and it records everything, so we'll have a complete financial accounting for every single nickel that goes into this and every single nickel that we spend out. So you'll be able to look at that. And besides all of that, and this page we put together, Rachel did a wonderful job of filling a lot of that in and doing it. And there's a lot of information, a ton of information, and it's worth just scrolling through it and looking at all the things that we're involved in and doing, and the people that are helping us. So, welcome to the Paddy Hopkirk Memorial Foundation.org. And like Eric said, if you can't give $1,000, we understand, and we're more than happy to take $5, $10, whatever you can afford, and towards the future of having Paddy's legacy eternalized. So anyway, I am thrilled myself to be a part of this and the team. So I want to just thank you all, and I'll sign off.
No, thank you very much, Norm, for that. And J. Paul, we really appreciate your time today to be able to discuss kind of your vision and where you've been, and I again just really appreciate looking at all those past works that you've done, and be able to give us motivation to be able to bring something to Paddy, give back to him for once, because he's given so much over the years to the mini community. We can't find anything else better, more important right now than to give him back to that gentleman, and support the mini community through this. So anyway, thank you all. We appreciate everything, and we're just going to close out. Let's hear from Paddy in his voice, and this is a very great video that was prepared by Minnie when they announced the car in 2021 to celebrate his win of the 1964 Monte Carlo. I mean, this is the version 2 of that Mini. The first one I saw a while ago, and I was very excited, and I was so happy that they did bring back another version of the Paddy Hopkirk edition Mini. So anyway, take a look at this, and again, thanks everyone for being part of our live stream today, and keep an eye out. We'll be bringing out more videos to share about progress and inspiration to get us across the finish line. All right, thank you everyone. Have a great day.
Everybody wants to win the Monte Carlo Rally. It was a very glamorous event. When I joined BMC, the Mini came along and surprised the world. It became a David and Goliath, the might of the other car manufacturers spending a fortune trying to win the event. It was a small car, so the roads looked big to the Mini. We're beaten by the big American cars down the straights, but we would beat them in the twisty bits. It was difficult from the point of view of snow and ice, the fight you had against nature. And we got to the finish, and it's not like modern day with telephones and electronics, so nobody knew who was doing what. And I got woken at 4 o'clock in the morning by a French journalist, and he said, "I think you've won the rally." There was a great combination coming together of hard work, wonderful team of mechanics, team manager, wonderful co-driver, and the Mini to win that against really powerful cars showed how good it was. It made the car famous, and my biggest thrill probably wasn't winning the rally, it was meeting Princess Grace. because she was a very famous film star. And Bruce Forsyth did a Sunday night Palladium show, and they got the Mini on that. So 27 million viewers saw that the Mini had won the Monte Carlo Rally. It was wonderful because the Beatles sent me a telegram. When I flew back in after the rally, I turned right at a no entry sign or something, and a policeman stopped and said, "Who do you think you are, Paddy Hopkirk?" I'm so flattered. I mean, motorsport's long behind me now, and for it to be remembered in this way is a great thrill, a great honour. The designers at Mini have done a wonderful job, and they've got a lot of the features of the 37 on it, with the stripe and the colours. It reminds me of my very lucky days. Oh, it's just wonderful memories.